Kathy, the Celtic Nick, and this is Celtic Nick Comment. Sometimes I just look around the world and wonder what's happening. Level of stress that is becoming almost unbearable that people are carrying. Not everyone talks about it openly. A lot of people hide it pretty well, but you can feel it underneath everyday life. See people putting groceries back on the shelves because the total got too high. Hear people talk about barely getting by, working 2, maybe even 3 jobs. You hear older people worried about retirement, younger people worried that they'll never own a home, and families trying to figure out how to keep everyone afloat. And I think that makes it worse is the uncertainty. People can survive difficult times better when they at least know what to expect. But uncertainty, that wears people down emotionally. Creates this constant feeling that the ground underneath you isn't stable anymore. Prices keep rising, jobs disappear, companies downsize, medical bills pile up, insurance costs go up, rent increases again and again, and many people, wages haven't even kept up. People start making difficult choices. Families move back in together. Adult children move home. Parents move in with adult children. 3 generations end up sharing one house because financially it makes sense or because they simply don't have another choice. That arrangement used to be more normal than people realize. For most of human history, extended families lived together. Hell, my grandmother and grandfather had 2 generations living with them when I was a kid. Sometimes 3 when the older adults moved back in because they needed a little extra care. What's different now is that many people grew up expecting a certain version of stability. And now that stability feels fragile. People are starting to buy RVs or converted vans because they're afraid of becoming homeless and at least want something they can live in if things fall apart. Others are already there. I think homelessness scares people so deeply because it represents more than the loss of a building. It's a loss of safety, the loss of routine, the loss of dignity, the loss of feeling anchored in the world. And what that has led me to think about is Maslow's hierarchy of needs. I remember learning about it in school years ago. And the older I get, the more I think how relevant it still is. Back in 1943, psychologist Abraham Maslow created his theory explaining the different levels of human needs. Most people have seen the pyramid. At the bottom are the physiological needs: food, water, shelter, sleep, warmth, basic survival. What's interesting is that those needs become threatened, people's entire life focus changes. When someone is worried about paying rent, affording groceries, it becomes very difficult to think about personal growth, dreams, or long-term goals because immediate survival takes over. The next level is safety. I think this is where many people are struggling right now. Safety means stability, financial security, health, predictability. It's a feeling that your life won't completely collapse because of one emergency. But right now, many people feel one illness, one job loss, or one unexpected expense away from disaster. And that creates chronic stress. And chronic stress changes people, changes how they think, how they sleep, how they interact with others. People become more anxious, more fearful, sometimes even angry. Then Maslow talked about love and belonging, friendships, family, connection, community. And I think modern society has quietly created a loneliness problem that we don't fully talk about enough. People are more digitally connected than ever, but emotionally disconnected. People can have hundreds or thousands of followers online and still feel completely alone. Human beings need perfect connection, not social media performance, real life connections. Somebody checking on you, somebody listening to you, somebody caring about whether you're okay. And after belonging comes self esteem, respect, confidence, recognition, feeling like your existence matters. I think a lot of people are struggling there too, because modern life can make people feel disposable, especially when society starts valuing you only by productivity, income, status, or appearance. And finally, self actualization, the idea of becoming fully yourself, creativity, purpose, growth, trying to become who you were meant to be. And here, well, this is where real life gets complicated. People don't move through life in perfect stages. Life is messy. Someone can be struggling financially and still create beautiful art. Someone can grieve and still help others. Someone else can be deeply lonely but still searching for meaning and spirituality. Maslow's hierarchy is useful. The key is useful. But people are far more complicated than a simple pyramid. And in later years, Maslow himself expanded his ideas. He added things like the need for knowledge, meaning, beauty, spirituality, and helping others. Human beings aren't just survival machines. We also need hope. We need meaning. We need beauty, even during difficult times. Maybe that's why people still decorate their homes during hardship, why they still make music, why they still fall in love, while they still create art and gardens and stories. There's something deeply human about continuing to search for meaning even when life feels unstable. And the other thing I've really been thinking about is this myth of the self made individual. Horatio Alger, I hate your short stories. The idea that successful people did everything completely alone. I don't believe that. No one succeeds entirely alone. We all depend on each other, whether we like to admit it or not. Teachers help shape us. Libraries provide access to knowledge and community. Public schools educate generations of people. Mentors guide us. Communities support us. Even businesses depend on relationships. A business owner needs customers. Artists need audiences. Writers need readers. Actors need viewers. Fundraisers need people willing to contribute. Human beings are interconnected, and I think uncertain times reveal that more clearly than anything else. Because when things get hard, people suddenly realize how much they need community. Not just financially, but emotionally too. People need encouragement, conversation, compassion. Just knowing somebody understands what you're going through makes life a little less frightening. One thing we can learn from difficult times that independence is important, but community matters too. Maybe even more than we realize. There's an old saying, it takes a village. Usually people say this about raising children, but I think it applies to all of us at every age, especially during uncertain times. And maybe one of the most important things we can do right now is remember other people are struggling too. The cashier, the elderly person on a fixed income, the single parent, the young adult overwhelmed by debt, the disabled person navigating a broken system, the family quietly trying to stay afloat. A little kindness matters more than most people realize, because sometimes people are carrying burdens we know absolutely nothing about. Anyway, those are just some thoughts I've been having lately. Let me know what you think in the comments. Do you think people are becoming more disconnected? Do you think community matters more than ever? How do people personally cope with uncertainty? I'd genuinely like to hear your thoughts. Please let me know in the comments below.